Hello, my name is Jaime Aguirre. I'm the head of AI at GenAIX. Today we'll be talking about Google's Teachable Machine. We are looking at the interface for Teachable Machine, and it's going to guide us through the process of using and training our model. So let's get started. Now we do have a choice when it comes to what type of project we want to initiate. It's going to be either images, audio, or posing. Why don't we do the imaging project today? The imaging project is going to be based on images, just regular photos that you may have taken using your phone, or we can actually take we can actually take images from snapshots using our webcam. So let's go that route. We're either going to select the standard image model or the embedded image model. Let's go with the best for most uses. Okay, now that we're on this screen, it's going to ask us for three things. To identify our classes, to train our model, which will come next, and then to explore the actual utilization of the model, so to put it into practice. Let's begin by taking a look at our first class. So for our first class, I'm going to use my webcam, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be training a model to identify this cup. As you can see, what I'm going to be doing is taking many different angles of this cup so that the model is aware of what the cup looks like from many different angles. So as you can see, I want to have as much data as possible so that the model is able to later better interpret whenever I wanted to be able to identify that I have this cup. Okay, I've taken 49 image samples. I think that's enough. Alright, so now that I've taken the first set of image samples of my first class, I'm going to take image samples of a second class. And this is a small container. And you'll see in a second. This is a small container that I'm going to want to train my model to be able to identify. And here we are, looking at many different angles of this object. And we've taken 19 images. Let's take some more so that we have an equal amount. To take some up close, take some from this angle and this angle, and I have 41. Let's take a few more, maybe looking this way. 43, and how about slant it a little bit. There we are. We have roughly an equal number of sample images. Now that we've taken the sample images, what we're going to do is we're going to train a machine learning model to be able to identify all of the class 1 data points and categorize them into knowledge of what actually this class 1 sample data set represents. And it'll do the same for the second class. Okay, so now that we've taken the samples, we're going to train the model. We're going to do that by clicking here. So you see that it's training the data. It's actually looking through all the different frames, and as quickly as that happened, the model is trained. What we're going to do now is test our model. We're going to test our model by having one of the two objects that I trained it on put in front of my webcam, and down here the model is going to make a determination whether that is class 1, which was the cup, or class 2, which was the small container. Alright, so let's begin, and rather than start with the cup, let's begin with the small bottle and see if the model, there it is. As you can see, it already made a determination that this is part of my class 2. So the data points that I gave it were analyzed by the computer model, and it's able to determine that this falls within our class 2. We'll talk a little bit, and you'll see here that as I move it around, there's a little bit of fluctuation because I did not take a 360 view of every angle for this object. However, it's doing a pretty good job. There it is. There's a little bit of hesitation when it comes to here, for example. It seems to be missing some data. This to the computer model right now could be, let's see, about a 30% chance, 40% chance it could be one or the other from this specific angle. So it's getting fooled a bit, but then again, I only took 49 sampled images. Now the more I move it, you could see that the percentage until this point was at 100%. Now that I begin to move it, again, it becomes a little confused. And at this angle, it thinks it's more likely to be the cup, which we know it's not. As I continue to rotate it, you can see a little bit more confusion, but it's settling on the fact that yes, this is a small bottle and a small container. It is not the cup. All right, so now that we've established that this is the container, let's go to the cup. There, immediately you saw the model has identified this as being the cup. I'm going to make some movement here. I'm going to push it back, and you see that there's no fluctuation whatsoever. This is 100% the cup, or class 1 according to the model. And here we have, again, remember when we did this with the other container, there was a lot of ambiguity about which one it could be. So from this perspective to the computer, it is unable to say with 100% certainty, at least. It's a little bit of confusion from this angle. And I think we didn't take too many pictures, but as we rotate it, it continues to, depending on the angle and even the distance, to determine which of the objects it is. Great. I think the model did a very good job of differentiating between one or the other, depending on the object, depending on the angle, for our class 1 and class 2 scenarios. Okay. Well, one final thing you can do with Google's Teachable Machine is the model that you just trained based on all of these samples for your class 1 and class 2 can actually be exported. So theoretically speaking, you can export the model to use in TensorFlow JS, TensorFlow, or TensorFlow Lite by downloading the model code itself, put it on GitHub, copy and paste it, and you too would be able to, without training the model the way I had to, you would be able to, when running the model, differentiate between a cup, such as my cup, actually, because this is only trained on my cup, not all cups, and the small bottle. And if you think about applications of this, you can think about security and the ability to recognize a face, the ability to recognize, let's say, a body movement out in public, or maybe inside a bank, or maybe inside a public building, to help the security people be able to either identify some sort of activity or some action that's taking place, and therefore a model would indeed help them to notify them about these actions. Anyway, that is Google's Teachable Machine. I hope you learned something and that it was interesting, to say the least. Any comments or questions, let me know. Again, my name is Jaime Aguirre. I'm the head of AI for GenAIX. Thank you.